So welcome, our beloved, brilliant brother Jason. We so appreciate your consistent leadership, as always, and your solidarity. And as always, at Setsi, we begin all things by giving thanks to our Creator, by giving thanks to the original stewards, the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled, or compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Jason, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers, to the people, and share a bit about your remarkable work, my brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's an honor, and being able to support, what you've done through Setsi and continue to do so, even, across the waters from the long distance. So yeah, my name is Jason. I am the operations director for Rise, Rise Edutainment, also known as Rise Arts and Community Services. And so what we do is we've been providing open mic platforms and professional development for emerging artists and established artists as well too here in Toronto. Based out of Scarborough, we've been doing it about almost 12 years now, going into our 13th. And yeah, things have been going really well for us. A lot of the artists that we've worked with over the years are seeing great successes in their careers. Grammy nominations, Juno nominations, people traveling the world and touring. So it's great to see, all the work that we put in over the years is finally unfolding for the artists and our community as well. And now we're really just in that place to kind of get that formula down pat and replicated so that, more success could come with the new artists and the youth that we continue to work with over the years.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Salute all the remarkable work. I see you have you're still repping Scarborough. As you know, I was born and raised.
Oh,
I see brother
that's
Nico,
that's
brother Nico Scarborough shooting stars hat on. You know what I mean? So
it.
it's honest to all the work, and yeah, this is a commitment to community economic development and community development and youth development. So my next question is, what's inspiring you right now in your work? What has you curious, or what's keeping you up at night?
Yeah. I mean, like we've been doing this for, again, like I mentioned, like 12, almost 13 years. And when we first started, we were the youth. Like we were the youth that we were trying to do the programs for, and at the same time, try to get ours, so that all our friends or all our people in the community can come wherever we're trying to get to in terms of success and achievements, right? Now that we're kind of a little bit older, things perspectives kind of change, priorities change. So right now it's like we know we have something that works well, and that's of course building up the community, giving people opportunities to access certain support, certain resources, making connections that they normally wouldn't have connections to, be it the arts or even social services, right? Um, and just kind of putting all of this together to make it more, um, I guess deepening the impact, because right now how it is, like how the sector is created, right? Like a lot of the funding only goes towards the initial phase of people who have no connections to the community, may not have never had a mentor before, and so a lot of the funding goes towards making those preliminary advances in people's development, right? Now what I'm trying to kind of accomplish is what is the next step after that? Like we're so successful at bringing people across the bridge that we've created, but then at the very end of that bridge, we have to say goodbye, or we have to say, we wish you the best of luck, because our funding focuses on us having to go back to the side of the bridge that we just started to cross and bring more people over, right? So now what's really been keeping me up, and I'm trying to really explore now, is what else can we provide the people that we are helping? Maybe they have completed our programming, or they're on that journey already of being a professional artist, or even a social or community worker. But what is the next addition to that we can ensure that we're providing as well, kind of like a continuation of what we've already provided, and ensuring that people finish crossing that bridge and continuing on whatever it is that they're trying to build. Maybe it might be their own organization, it might be their own record labels, or their own passions, but it's now making that success story or success route a lot more efficient and a lot more likely to happen, right? So that's probably the biggest thing now as of recently. I mean, if you asked me a couple of years ago, it'd probably be, how can we keep this sustainable, right? Like, how can we continue to make this happen? But sustainability has been something that we were addressing for the last couple of years, and I felt like we've kind of reached that place where sustainability isn't no longer such a hard issue for us to kind of take on, and now it's more of like staying ahead of the game and being able to make the successes happen even more frequently.
Indeed, indeed. I couldn't agree more in terms of just the model. I know that in the States, our brother, our elder, Jeffrey Canada built the Harlem Children's Home, and it was predicated on a simple model, cradle to career. So that
Yeah,
continuum framework, obviously, you're not operating from the cradle, you're operating from
yeah,
youth development, capacity strengthening activities, making sure that folks
exactly.
are aligned in terms of the industry sector, and to make sure that they're empowered to be able to lead in terms of their work. But in terms of that next steps, that continuity of care, that continuity of support,
Exactly.
creating enable
Exactly.
environments for folks to walk into is some challenging work, and we've seen that with other organizations doing similar work than you. So
Yeah.
once again, I just applaud your leadership, innovation, and the introspection it takes to look at, flush out. Okay, you know what? We've come this far, but we didn't come this far just to come this far. How do we now scale and innovate in a way that better serves the constituents or the community members that we want to ensure are empowered? So once again, I applaud your leadership as always.
I
You're
mean, like, and even just saying that, like, it's not fair that, yes, we serve the youth and stuff, but once you're not a youth, we can no longer serve you. Like, that's not fair for those people. Like, you're still a part of the community. Your trajectory and your continued forward path is still in the best interest of everyone else. So why not be able to continue to support that, right? So yeah, it's definitely a new journey that we're taking on. I think it's like I wouldn't say it's a pivot or anything, but it's definitely, it wouldn't have came at a better time, really.
Yeah, and even in the sector that you're working in, like arts and
Mhm.
culture, like we're talking about the arts and culture in the social finance space before,
Yes.
but the intersection between arts and culture and innovation, like artists have changed the world over and over again.
Oh,
So in terms of
yep.
artist developments, do you really want to build and strengthen the capacity of a remarkable young person and then hand them off to an industry or sector that may not even serve their interests, or to agents and A&R? So I think definitely that holistic and wraparound approach is powerful, potent, and important. So once again, I applaud your leadership. My next question: what challenges and
Sure.
barriers do you face in your work? What are some of the approaches you and your colleagues are taking to overcome some of these challenges and barriers?
Yeah. I mean, like, the one of the biggest challenges is, of course, it has to be with the system. Like, of course, we wouldn't have these roadblocks if, maybe it's on us too, to when we do apply for projects or we do apply for funding, maybe to include that more often, that we're looking to kind of build beyond just um, where we're currently landing at. Maybe building in the applications that we have this future forward thinking, that we still want to be able to support these people's development somehow, some way. We don't know exactly how just yet. Maybe because um, the professionals that we do need to connect with, we do need to consult. They've been in this industry for years, and so record labels and all that, they already have them on their payrolls. So it's like we're competing with that at the same time, and we're essentially building something from scratch, right? But other challenges that come down when it comes down to it, the climate, the social climate. Artists are people just like us. They gotta feed themselves. They gotta feed their families. Everyone's going through things. That the prices of thing of goods and services is just skyrocketing, right? Everything is privatized, and so the community, youth and artists specifically, are left to kind of fend for ourselves or fend for themselves. um, and the responsibility of us now having to find ways to alleviate what's already happening to everyone in the community falls in our hands. Like, it's on us now. Like, if we're offering a program, we got to make sure we have components that can support them on social services, components that provide mental health supports, because these are real things that are they're experiencing, and in order for them to fully develop into the person or to the people that we anticipate them to become, we have to look at it as they need everything else outside of just the programming that we're providing. And it's I guess now is the time that these sort of changes, which are not necessarily new, but everyone just kind of just did it on their own. Now that we're kind of implementing and including that in all the work that we're doing, everyone's starting to see like, yeah, you can't just give someone, a fishing rod thinking that you're going to fish. You got to provide the boat. You got to provide the actual the waters that's bountiful and full of fish for them to eat off of, and then the skills will come after once you've actually taught them. But everything else that relates to that have to start now we find ourselves having to offer that as well too. So it's a bit of a challenge because you're getting funding from one body, but they don't necessarily see the whole bigger picture. So now you got to scrounge and look at another funding opportunity to implement those other ideas and supports that you require to have a more holistic program. So it's a lot of puzzle playing and putting the right pieces together in order to really get what we're trying to accomplish, really accomplish what we're trying to do. But yeah, I'd say those are probably the biggest challenges, and it happens. It's like a cycle, like once we've felt like we've completed our work or done the work right, a whole new generation of kids, a whole new generation of youth and community members, they're facing a whole different issue that now we have to kind of like pivot and address. So for the last couple of years, it was social distancing, not being able to be close to people, having to maneuver that, and then now it's like all the mental health services, all the social services that people need, especially with healthcare not being the greatest right now. People are waiting 3, 4, 5 hours just to be served, or they don't even have access to doctors. All of these kind of come into play with everything that we're doing, and so every year it's something different. But at the very least, we know exactly what we're good at and what we provide, and all these extra things are we don't steer away from the challenge of being able to provide that. At the end of the day, it's all about the benefit of the people, benefit of the people that we're serving, and if it comes down to it, then that's what we got to do.
That's incredible. And I think the proof is in the pudding, as they'd say. Like the efficacy of Rise is clear. And I think one of the beautiful things about it's just the sustainability and the fact that you've arrived at this place where you can serve so many folks in such remarkable ways. There's also a
Yeah,
shift, I think, in its ecosystems. There was years ago where you'd have to go into rooms and explain the why. The why. This is why.
exactly.
I think now folks understand the why. It's more about the how.
Yep,
And I think that's the beautiful thing
absolutely.
because you keep on refining, reflecting and refining on the how. And that refinement is just getting more clear and more concise and more brilliant. So once again, I just applaud you, Brother Randall, the whole team at Rise,
Thank
everything
you.
you're doing,
Yeah,
what y'all stand for. So my second last question, what is your ultimate goal and what does success look like to you and your colleagues?
that's definitely changed. Like when we first started with Rise, the ultimate goal was, you know, of course, serving the community, but it was like, we weren't serving the community how we're doing it today. And the ultimate goal back then was, can my neighbors or the people that I see on a day to day know who I am, right? Because if they don't know who I am, how am I supposed to accomplish the things that I want to do for my community? So that was really the ultimate goal when it all started. And as things come along, people start to know who you are. People start to learn about the things that you accomplished and the things you are capable of doing. So now it's kind of changed to with Rise. How can we make our model more successful? So like as I was mentioning, we have artists or musicians and stuff that have reached like the pinnacles of being a successful artist, whether that is performing on the Grammy stages, the Juno stages, being signed to a record label and being a music executive at that point. But the success rate of that is very, I wouldn't say it's seldom, but we haven't been able to track what were the additional steps to that, right? So the ultimate goal for us is if someone could come to Rise one day, by like let's say they come to Rise on a January, by December, they'll be out touring in Los Angeles or in the United States, making a living off of their art. And ideally, that would be the biggest ultimate goal is providing the professional development and the connections and the resources so that people can actually make it happen for themselves as efficiently as possible. Yeah, was there another part to your question?
No, you answered it exactly how I wanted to. You took us all the way through the continuum of how far you've been able to take talents.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
once again, it just speaks to the efficacy of the brand and the model and the vision. So my last question, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
Every year, generations, we all get older, of course. Music changes to people's ears. Sometimes you're only looking for the old stuff that you used to bump when you were younger, and you look down on, you might look down on the new stuff that's coming out today. But I think more people deserve chances to hear them out, or to even just experience what people are creating, because I feel like now more than ever, with how accessible everything is, with the internet, and even just how like our communities interact with each other, like people from the East End are no longer strangers to the people in the West End. um, I think people deserve a chance to be heard, or to be listened to, even if it might not sound like what music used to sound like, or what being a dancer or artist used to look like back in the day. Um, Giving people the opportunity, even just the opportunity to see what people are creating now, can go a long way. Because again, like here in Toronto, um, we're losing venues left, right, and center, and venues are essentially are everyone's meeting place, right? And if that's already being taken away, how else are people going to put themselves out there other than being on a platform, right? So if they're putting themselves out on a platform, give them a chance, give them a shot. They may not be music for you, but maybe you might have a personal connection to them. Maybe they grew up from where you were raised, and even just supporting them on that kind of front, that goes a long way for a lot of the artists. Again, like, because that's how it started with us, right? Like with Rise, if people weren't coming to our shows to Scarborough, I don't know where we'd be, but people would come to Scarborough, people from Scarborough would come out, and then all over the GTA, people would come just to Scarborough just to see us, and that alone is what's kept us going for the last 12 years. And so I can see how that kind of push, that kind of support from even people you may not know, can go a long way, even if it's just listening to a local artist, right? So if you have the opportunity, venture out to listen to some of the music that you might not be fully into, but you might find a gem. Maybe out of one track out of the 12 songs that they have on their project that they're pushing, you might just gravitate to one, and that's totally okay. You support that one track if you can, and it goes a long way.
Indeed, indeed. My closing message is different. I want folks to support organizations like Rise, reaching intelligent
Mhm.
souls
Oh, yes,
everywhere.
absolutely.
Because the fact
Absolutely.
remains that if we don't reach intelligent
Yeah.
souls everywhere, we're in trouble. And a lot of the music that's coming out right now in this world sometimes doesn't reflect the values that we want our children to have. So the
Exactly.
work that you're doing is so important because you're building the capacity of those that are the messengers, that are creating and shaping culture and programming the minds, hearts, and minds of so many. So once again,
Been the goal. Yes, sir. That's been the goal. Having these things, that we prioritize, the good music, the things that really bring us together and doesn't divide us. That's what we try to prioritize in any of our content that we push. And so if we can continue to do that, love prevails everything, and that's what's going to keep us motivated and going.
indeed, we continue to rise, my brother. As always, I just give thanks for your leadership since the day we met.
Absolutely.
Our beloved
So
brother Randell. I've been inspired by your work, your diligence, your tenacity, and your love for community. So once again, my brother, keep doing the work. We appreciate you. We'll give
always,
you
no worries.
flowers right now. And as always at Setsi, we close the way we began this conversation by giving thanks to our creator, by giving thanks to the original crew of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, fam. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Victor. It's a pleasure being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day, brother.
You too, fam.